Okay, good morning, everyone. It is 9:02. We're going to get started. My name is Tamika Miller. I am the Executive Vice President of the Greater New Haven Chamber. This is in full transparency, ladies and gentlemen. This is my first day back from vacation. So I will ask, as some of you are nodding, you know how that feels. So I will ask those of you on the call who are members of the team, if there's anything that you know that I normally say that I don't say, it's because I have vacation brain. So please chime in. Any members of our staff, please chime in. So I'm delighted to see everyone. We have about 20 participants. I'm going to go through a few slides. And you know what, as we go through the slides, if you all have questions, rather than wait to the end, because I know people have to jump off at different times. So as I go through the slides, feel free to ask any questions that you have. The whole purpose of this is to let those of you who are in the leadership program know what to expect, and those of you who are considering the leadership program also know what to expect, okay? So it's like a sort of a dual purpose call. So with that, I will, and at the end, if we have some time, which I hope we do, I think we will, we can do a quick round to see who people are on the call. So again, if you're driving, please be careful, and I'm going to start sharing my slides. And once again, I'm Tamika Miller, Executive Vice President of the Chamber, in charge of member engagement and communications. And I also put this leadership program together with the help of a lot of people. So I appreciate those who have helped me. Can you all see my screen? Thank you. There we go. Okay. So here we are. It's our open house. And I know this is a weird setting here, but I'm going to just go with it. Okay. So here we are. Here's our quick agenda. We'll have an overview of the Leadership Center. I'll talk to you about a little bit about the program, this specific Leadership Greater New Haven, which is a smaller program of the entire Leadership Center. I'm going to talk to you about how during this program, this 6-month program, you will get an orientation to the region. You're going to get different perspectives on leadership skills. So you'll get to hear the beauty of this program. You get to hear from so many different influencers, what I call Connecticut royalty, movers and shakers. You'll get to hear from and get to know and get exposure to. And you get to hear all their different perspectives on leadership and what they've gone through in their personal journeys and professional journeys, I should say, professional journeys. We'll peek at some past speakers. You'll hear from some of our alumni. Some of our staff have gone through the program, so you'll hear from them, their alumni testimonials. I'll touch on the hands-on experience, because you're going to get a chance to put in real day application what you're learning every day and what you already know. We're assuming that most of you have been through something like this already. So this is just like an enhancement, you know, on top of what you might have already had. So I'll talk a little bit about that hands-on project experience. Then we'll talk about DE&I, diversity, equity, inclusion training, immersion that we'll have throughout the program. It'll be sprinkled throughout. And then one day we'll really focus on it, or one morning we'll really focus on it. I'll give you the dates for the program. These dates were also on our website, so there is no change, but I just like to repeat the dates for everybody on this information call. It says safety policies, safety practice and policy. I don't have a slide on that anymore. That was a leftover agenda item from when COVID, you know, was like rampant. And so that's what I would have talked about. You know, we did some in-person and we did some social distancing, and then we did, you know, one year we had to do it on Zoom completely, but everything is 100% in person this time. So we won't touch on that. I'll tell you about what to expect day one. Day one is really, really fun. So you're going to hear about day one. You'll get opportunity to learn a little bit more about the program coordinator, because what happens is I'm behind the scenes pulling together the speakers and the curriculum and everything else. And then you pretty much won't see me for the duration of the program. There's someone who is going to be your everyday contact, and that person is your program coordinator. So I'll introduce you via PowerPoint to that person. And then we'll go over just a few little details. This is not a long presentation, so it will not be drawn out. And then I invite you again, as I said earlier, to ask questions along the way. Okay, so everybody good still? All right.
Rika, are you on the agenda slide? Because I still see the title slide on my
You
screen.
do? I'm glad you stopped me. All right, so I think this is a problem that I always have, so I got to think of how to do this now. Display settings. There's one of these down here that I always.
Okay, yeah, now we can see it.
Now you see agenda?
Yes, now I see agenda.
Okay. All right. Okay, and now do you see the Olympian ring?
Yes.
Okay. I love the Olympics, and I think it's also doing the captions, but that's okay. So the Leadership Center, just to ground everyone, is a program that's been going on in the Chamber for over 35 years. We have 35 there, but I think we've lost count. So who knows, it might be 50 years by now. But the point is of this slide is this leadership program, the Leadership Center, is home to two programs, Leadership Greater New Haven and the Executive Orientation Program. And both of these programs have been offering Connecticut business professionals a lot of value in the way of learning about the region, orientation to people, getting connected, all so that people become catalysts for change. As you can also see by this slide, so we've been doing this program for a number of years. We have over 1,000 alumni, and these alumni work in a variety of categories and companies and industries. So it really is an expansive program. And as you go through the program and complete the program and then start networking with people, you'll find out through conversation, oh, you went to the leadership program, I went to the leadership program. So it's really an interesting program and far-reaching in terms of alumni. Next slide is our Regional Water Authority slide. And this is to celebrate and acknowledge and recognize that Regional Water Authority has been the presenting sponsor of this program for, again, many, many years. And we appreciate their counsel and their support and their dollars to make the program what it is today. I also have had in the past the advantage of having a leadership advisory council. And this is a group of volunteers who get together and help me ensure that the curriculum each year is different and fresh and relevant for the cohort that's coming through. So kudos and thanks to the Leadership Advisory Council as well. Our next slide is talking about Albertus Magnus College. So Albertus Magnus College is a brand new sponsor this year. And we're calling them the program sponsor because they're offering, which is quite impressive, they're offering you all who are enrolled in the leadership program an opportunity to take additional classes at Albertus at no cost. So that's what you see on your screen there. So if you are enrolled in the leadership program, if you're still thinking about it, then not yet. But if you're enrolled in the leadership program, you can earn up to 3 stackable micro-credentials. So this whole notion of micro-credentials, you'll probably start hearing that. A lot of the universities have these micro-credential programs. These are the ways that they are helping business professionals like you stay up to date with, you know, the current topics and subject matter areas that you need to stay relevant. So Albertus, among many others, have these micro-credentials, but Albertus has stepped up and volunteered to say, we are going to be a program sponsor this year for the leadership program. And now people who are members of the chamber and also in the leadership program, you get to take a class at no charge, as long as you can take this class from the time of enrollment into your program, into the leadership program, by the end of March of 2024. So I will give you some details for those of you who are interested in that. I will give you some details about that. But basically, you would go to Albertus Magnus College website. You would click on their Career Accelerator program, and you'd look through and you'd select what courses could I possibly take that can be completed between now, the time of your enrollment into this program, and March of 2024. And whatever you find, remember I said you can earn up to 3 micro-credentials, you would let me know what those are, and I would send that paperwork into Albertus on your behalf. That's really the way it works. So again, new feature, and that's why I'm spending a little bit more time on it, because it's a brand new feature. So in fact, Mackenzie, if you wouldn't mind, if you could go to Albertus Magnus College website and just find the Career Accelerator program and just put that link in the chat. That'll be helpful for people. And then you all can look at that link at your leisure. Okay, I'll pause here for any questions on this program, this new feature from Albertus. Any questions? And I'm just pausing a little longer if you're trying to get off mute. Okay. All right, our next slide talks about the specific Leadership Greater New Haven program that you all are going to be going through or still considering. So as I mentioned, it's 6 sessions. It starts in October. I'm going to share the dates with you in a moment. But it's 6 sessions. It's for professionals of all levels. So if you are attending this information session as a proxy or trying to get information for somebody else, you can let that person know that it's for all levels, working in corporate, nonprofit, and government, and really in any industry. I've just kind of summarized it, but you can work in any industry and all levels. So we've had people in this program who've been administrative assistants to folks all the way up to people who have started their own business, to people who are, part of the C-suite. So all different levels, which is great in this program. So as you can see here on the slide, you'll learn different leadership strategies, and you're not just learning leadership strategies, but you're learning the perspectives of the people who are going to come speak to you. So everyone who comes to speak with you, again, the beauty of the program is they share different perspectives with you. They share their take on different leadership strategies. So you'll get that. Again, you'll get an orientation to the Greater New Haven region. So a few years in the past, we've been able to organize tours for you to go around and drive around and kind of learn the region. For those of you who might be new in the region, or those of you who might just need a refresher and want to know what's the latest and greatest about the region. So that is what you'll get as well. You'll also have a sharpening of your professional skills. So public speaking, all of us have to be really comfortable with doing that as a leader. Public speaking, personal branding, just being aware of how you present yourself. Effective business communications. Again, all of us as leaders should know how to effectively communicate in email and speaking. So we'll go through some of that. Not drilling down in a lot of detail because we assume that you've been through most of the fundamentals, but this is just to kind of, give you that extra oomph that, have you add that feather in your cap. We'll talk about team management because no matter where you work, even if you're a solopreneur or, you always have to work with other people. So internally and externally. We'll talk again about diversity, equity, and inclusion, immersion, and I'll explain to you some of the ways that you'll be immersed. Hands-on application, I referenced that earlier. And then, ladies and gentlemen, this is your opportunity for long-lasting connections. A lot of the people who have been through this leadership program have told me time and time again how they have made really strong connections and how they've maintained the relationships with the people who were in their class. And you can see here on the slide, this is a picture of the class of 2020 or 2021 probably, doing a tour in downtown New Haven. And really people have genuinely stayed in contact. So I wanted to just underscore that. Our next slide here is a quote from someone in the class of 2019. Although I have lived in the Greater New Haven area most of my life, I felt as though I was introduced to new ways of thinking about the life, vitality, and issues of concern for the area. So again, you might say, well, I've lived here for years. I think I know the region pretty well. But again, this is a good way for you to get a different take on it, meet new people, for whatever initiatives that you're working on in your respective areas, and learn something about yourself. You know, it's a new day and time. It's 2023, so learn something about yourself as well. This next slide talks about the New Haven area influencers, and this is what I mentioned earlier when I said Connecticut royalty. We have a lot of Connecticut royalty and a lot of people who are influencers, movers, and shakers. And I use that Connecticut royalty in a tongue-in-cheek kind of joking way. But these are all the people, you know how you hear, oh, you should know this one, you should meet this one, you should meet this one. So this is a good way to get exposure to those people or people who know those people. So on my slide, I just listed some of the names of the people who've spoken in the past and who shared their subject matter expertise. So we have Kevin Rocco, the CEO of BioRez. Obviously, you know, you all live and work or at least work in the region, so you know that bioscience is here and here to stay, right? So Kevin Rocco was a CEO that came in and talked to us about his experience in his company. At the time, we had Scott Jackson. He was the Chief Administrative Officer for the City of New Haven, #2 in command underneath the mayor. We've also had Eric Williamson, who's an author, and that was an interesting topic. He talked about how to work with jerks, right? Getting stuff done with people you can't stand. That was very telling. Cool. That was a cool course. That was during one of the sessions where we had to be 100% virtual because of COVID. And so we were able to use Eric, who lives in Maryland. We were able to Zoom him in and he shared his perspectives, and that was really eye-opening. But you know, we still have access to the book. So if that's something that you say, oh, that's an interesting topic, I want to know more, you can let me know. You can message me in the chat and I can hook you up with the book if you're interested. We also heard from Will Ginsburg. He's the president and CEO of the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven. We heard from Jennifer Heath, president and CEO of United Way, Greater New Haven. Mark Argosh, who at the time was chairing the Governor's Workforce Council. So we heard all about what the governor was going to be doing for workforce development. We also heard from Lynn Sullivan, Associate Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Yale Divinity School. So she brought forth a really interesting perspective about diversity and inclusion and talked to us about what's going on within Yale Divinity School. And then Kevin Myatt, he's now retired, but he at the time was the Senior Vice President at Yale New Haven Hospital. And he talked about what leadership meant to him and shared his perspective and sort of his charge to the future leaders about, you know, what we all should be working on. So those were some of the speakers, just a handful of the speakers, just to expose you to those. Before I go on to this slide, I just wanted to pause again. I'm going to just check the chat to see if there's any questions. And Jessica, I see your note. Thank you for that. Mackenzie, thank you for putting the chat for Albertus Magnus College, the link in the chat. Again, you all should copy that, the link for Albertus Magnus, so you can decide if you want to take those micro-credentials. And are there any questions? Any questions? I'm just pausing for questions now about anything I've said so far. All right, moving right along. So the Leadership Challenge. So at the core of this program is the Leadership Challenge book. And so each of you will get a copy of the book that you see on my slide in front of you. It's called the Leadership Challenge. You can see that it's by Coos and Posner. And if you, look up this book, you'll see that it's been on the bestseller, New York Times best-selling list for many, many years. And the subtitle is How to Make Extraordinary Things Happen in Organizations. And it talks about 5 leadership practices specifically. So again, this is not the be all and end all, but this is their take on 5 leadership practices. And I found out through my career that this really is applicable. So throughout our program, you're going to hear different speakers talk to you about each of the 5. So someone will come and talk about Model the Way. And you'll get to read the book on your own because I'm going to give you the book, but you don't have to read it through the program. You'll have it as a tool that you can refer to whenever you're ready for it. but someone will come and share their perspective with you on Model the Way, which is the first practice. Then you'll hear another perspective about Inspire a Shared Vision. That's the second leadership practice. Then it's about challenging the process. You know, sometimes that means you got to shake stuff up as a leader, right? Challenge the status quo, shake it up. Don't be afraid to ask questions, you know, really provoking questions sometimes. So that person will talk to you about challenging the process. In the past, we've had Howard K. Hill, which is our board chair of the chamber. And Howard K. Hill is also the owner and founder of the Howard K. Hill Funeral Services. And he has been, he is a really good speaker, and he has shared with us information and his perspective on challenging the process and how he kind of pushes the status quo and pushes the needle in certain areas. So that was very informative. Hopefully he'll be able to come back and do that same talk. The fourth leadership practice is enable others to act. So as a leader, you know, it's not about you, it's about you and your team, so the team together. And sometimes it's all about finding ways to enable other people on your team to act, and enabling them to do something bigger and better than maybe what they've done in the past. And then the fifth leadership practice is encourage the heart. And this talks about, you know, while you are working and you've got deadlines and all the challenges that come with being a leader and with your job, it's important to take some time out and really make people feel heard, included, acknowledged, appreciated. And so these are all the different ways that leaders can encourage the heart. So as you can see, it's a robust book with a lot of content. Again, it's meant to read, and then you go back to it and you read it again and you go back to it. You'll all have your own copy, but you'll get some perspectives about that. All right, moving ahead. These are some of the past speakers that have spoken and given perspectives on the Leadership Challenge book. So you can see at the top of the list, Howard K. Hill, Heather Latora, Paul McCraven, Anne Marie Knight, Jean Christensen, Anne Marie Jones, and Mark Cepino. Okay, and you can see their titles there. I'm going to pause here actually because Gary, I think you have a call that you've got to get on. So I'm going to pause here and let Gary speak to your experience as a person who's gone through the leadership program, and then I'll pick this back up. So Gary, please take it away.
Thank you, Tamika. Glad to be here with everyone. Can everyone hear me? I hope you can. I just want to say that this is one of the great programs that the Chamber of Commerce offers. It truly is a wonderful program. I had the privilege to be part of the program. I think it was 2020, Tamika, or 2021. It was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it was, but we did have a couple in-person meetings, which was great, but a lot of it was online, and I'm sure you're going to still have a mix of both. But just to echo some of the things that Tamika talked about, the collaboration, the leadership, the professional development, and a way to give back to someone when you collaborate with your teammates on your project, your special project that you'll do as part of the program, and the camaraderie that you build, the relationships that you build as a professional here in the greater New Haven area is just a wonderful thing. And I know I have relationships with some of my teammates that we went through this together, and we had a terrific time doing it. And then, you know, relaying our recommendations and information to a business that needed some help. So I just like and love this program, and Tamika does a wonderful job with, you know, setting it up, setting you up for success. If you're thinking about it, it's the right move to make, to come in, and we ask that you do that. And if you're already part of it, that's great. You've made a great decision. You will never regret it. And I look forward to working with you and seeing you. And if you don't know, I'm the vice president of sales for the chamber. So we have a lot of interaction with the companies that, are part of the program and just in general work with the chamber. So Tamika, back to you. Keep up the great work that you're doing, and I'm sure we're going to have another great class.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so now I should be on the slide that says real world project experience. Am I there? Okay, great. Thank you for that. All right, and after this slide, I will pause again because usually there's a lot of questions after the slide. But part of your leadership experience, as I've mentioned in the past, I've used the words like hands-on, real-world experience. So as you're going through each of the 6 sessions of the program, on top of that, as an extra bonus, plus, you will get a chance to work with a real company, a small company, so it'll be a small business or a nonprofit organization. And usually in the month of November, I have small companies and nonprofit organizations come and present to you what they consider their strategic challenge. It's a problem that these small companies and nonprofits have, and for whatever reason, time, staff, budget, they have not been able to tackle that problem, and they want to use the leadership class as their very own think tank to learn and to get ideas. So that's really what this real world project experience is all about. That you as class members will get to hear different companies present to you. You will self-select. You will tell me which companies you want to work for, work with, or which nonprofit organization you want to work with for your duration of time in the leadership program. And then at the very end, during graduation, you present your findings, you present your solutions, what you would do if you were working for that organization. That's what you'd present. So you can see here in my on my slide, you start off from a class of about maybe 20 or so people in the class. You divide it into teams. Could be 4 or 5 people on a team, so smaller teams. And then your smaller teams continue to work with each other on your own schedule, on your own time, away from the rest of the leadership program, work on the solutions to solve business challenges for these companies and organizations. So I'm going to pause here and see if you have any questions on this extra layer of the program. Has anyone experienced anything like this before in other leadership programs? Is this a new concept for most? Okay, I'm seeing people nod.
I just had a question.
Sure.
Hello, it's Jakiva from Concord. How are you this morning?
Good, I'm great, Jakiva.
Quick question. So you mentioned that if we were in the program, we'd be presenting this solution to the strategic problem at graduation. So would this
Correct.
be kind of in like a pitch kind of setting, like a pitch competition almost?
Sort of. And are you saying because you're going to be like in a big, yeah, so sort of.
Right.
It's kind of, if you're picturing that, yeah. So actually, and I'm glad you said your question because I wanted to add, actually presenting twice. You're going to present to the company or organization themselves first, the more detailed version of what you would do to solve their problem. And then, yes, during graduation, when you have your family and other coworkers and people attending this, and it's going to be a big dinner that we do every year. So during graduation is the more summarized, shorter version, like 5 slides that you do during the graduation. But yes, it's like a 2-step process. So first, more detailed for the company, and then like a 5-slide summarized version for the graduation. Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. My name is Cassie, so with New Haven Job Corps. I have a
Good
question.
morning.
You probably said that, but I couldn't hear, so I had to log back in. So how long is the program, and like, is it something that's gonna be a year to the point that you have session every week or every day? If you said this already, I apologize.
That's okay. No worries. It's a lot of information. So it's 6 sessions. You're going to get a session, almost a session a month. And I'm going to share with you the dates soon, but it's going to be 6 different sessions. So it starts in October. You've got 2 meetings in October, and then 1 in November, 1 in December, 1 in January, 1 in February, and then you're done. March is graduation. So it's 6 sessions. So great, great question. And when you do have your session, it's only from 9 a.m., well, with breakfast, 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. We give you breakfast, we give you lunch. We want to make sure you're fresh and ready. We give you lunch. We got to satiate you, of course, during the time. And then we end at 3 so that you have time to check back into your work schedule. It's definitely not weekly. Some people think that it's weekly, but it's definitely not a weekly program. So for your planning purposes, you can really consider this a monthly program. Starting in October, ending in February, you graduate in March of 2024. Okay, great
So
question.
if
Yeah.
you have a membership, like let's say you work for a company that has a membership and you want, let's say the company does not want to sponsor this, is it something that you can do as an individual, like to the point of
Yes, very excellent question. And you did not, I mean, I did not tell you to ask that, but very, very good question. Yes, some people actually, we have a person who worked for Yale. He worked there for many years, and I don't think he was approved to have them pay for him to go. So he put it on his credit card, and you know, he paid for it. He wanted to go through the program for his own professional reasons, personal professional reasons, and he went through the program. So there are no, another thing I want to just add in, you didn't ask this, but I wanted to add it in because people have asked me in the past. There is no application process. So you pretty much will tell your company manager, whoever you work for, or whoever your liaison is at the chamber, you basically tell them of your interest to be in the program. And if you want, you know, I am certainly available to have one-on-one conversations if there are certain other details that you need help working through. If you need me to talk to your managers, just, you know, just to be another person for your managers to hear from, I'd be willing to do that as well. So there is no like rigorous application process or interview process. It's really, if you have the time and the interest and your company wants to send you, great. If not, you can go through it yourself as well.
my last question. So
Mhm.
let's say you want to send a group of people in your organization. We want to choose 5 managers or leaders to send. Would there be like a group discount or something like that?
Yes, yes. Again, another excellent question. Yes, we have in the past, and we do that. In fact, I think we have it advertised on our website that those companies and organizations that send multiple people, we do have a discount that we would give. And we also have nonprofit pricing. So if you're an organization that's nonprofit, there's also a certain tuition for nonprofit organizations as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Tamika. I have a question. My name is Cheryl. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm awesome. So with the project, the real world project experience, will we have to meet outside of working hours to come up with our project?
Yes, that's why I said, and that's why I'm really spending time on this because I want people to have, you know, have the right to set the right expectations. So you will decide with your small teams of 4 or 5 people, you know, when you all can meet. And again, it's for a short period of time. In the grand scheme of things in life, it's for a short period of time. But it's necessary so that you can work together to figure out how to solve this problem for this company, this organization. And usually we have one point of contact that'll reach out to that company or to that nonprofit organization to ask them questions so that you as a team can work, you know, really well together and solve the problem. So there's one point of contact that will do that. You all decide as your small team, again, of 4 to 5 people, when you're going to meet, how often you're going to meet, who's going to do what. And then that's it. So it's really up to your small team, how much you're willing to contribute. And with anything, with gym memberships, as you've heard in the past, when you sign up for a gym membership, you only see really great results if you put a lot of time and effort into it, right? The same thing here. If you spend time and you really work on stuff, you're going to probably see really, really good results. And your relationships with your team members will probably be that much stronger, is my hypothesis. But hopefully that's helpful. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So that's the real world project experience. Again, we have companies come in, companies and nonprofits. We have about 7 companies come in to present, and then you self-select. The program coordinator will tell you which team you're on, and then you start working with your smaller teams after that. Okay. So now we have a testimonial. So you should see a woman on your screen. I'm going to play this video. Hopefully it plays. But this is a testimonial from someone who went through the program and also who spoke as a speaker for the program.
I'm not sure if it's only me, but I cannot hear.
Did no one hear?
I
No.
cannot hear either.
You cannot hear either. Okay, let me think. Because I'm in a different setting. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can do something different. All right, when I'm going to start hitting, I'm going to hit play, and if you can hear, just give me a thumbs up. Nothing?
Nothing.
I don't think it's playing.
Nothing yet.
All right, we might have to skip it. I might have to just share it with you after this. So I will. But in the meantime, I'm always ready. A good leader is always ready with plan B. So we have another member of our staff, Kobe Smith, who went through the leadership program. And Kobe just graduated, I think, in earlier this year. Yeah, 2023, class of 2023. So Kobe, I'm going to put you on the spot now to share your experience going through the leadership program.
Thank you, Tamika, and good morning, everyone. So pretty much following what Gary said, this program was very beneficial to me. As a young professional, was 2 years out of college, didn't really know many people in the area. So the networking definitely helped me out a lot. There was people that I heard about, but never actually had the opportunity to meet. And some of them were in the cohort with me. A lot of us became really great friends outside, and we still have that great relationship, whether it's a working relationship or like we hang out every now and then. In addition to that, just learning more about the business world in New Haven and economic development. Again, like I said, 2 years ago, those were words that were very foreign to me. Like I didn't understand what economic development was. I didn't really understand what a chamber was. And now seeing that I'm working for a chamber and I'm meeting these people regularly, I understand how important their role is to what's going on in New Haven, the state, and the world. So just collaborating with those people, building my network, and fostering strong relationships and partnerships has definitely been the most important thing, because I see that we all have different skill sets and opportunities to help each other with our goals, whether it's in business or just growing the economy. And being able to connect with people who have that same mindset and goal was very beneficial to me. So that's really the one thing that I gained the most from this leadership program.
Thank you so much, Kobe. Thank you, thank you. All right, so I'm going to pick back up, share my screen. All right, so now we are on the slide that should say diversity, equity, diversity, inclusion, immersion on the slide. Hopefully that's what you see. Okay, and I'm actually going to just operate from here. Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, so I mentioned about DE&I immersion. So basically, we will work through 5 different modules, I like to call them. So first is inclusive leadership. So it's taught by a chamber member, an organization that is HRCI approved. So it's meaning to tell you that they are definitely, you know, as someone who knows what they're talking about, who's works in the HR field, who's been certified and who's taught diversity inclusion training for many years. So that organization will come and speak to you about inclusive leadership and what that means. You'll also have an opportunity to either tour diverse business owners and their business locations, or you'll have the opportunity to speak with and hear from different diverse business owners. There's also going to be a workshop to identify microaggressions. So has anyone heard that term by show of hands, microaggressions? Yep, I see a few of you raising your hands and nodding your head. So we're going to go through those. There's another book, and in fact, books, that's something else I should say. So along the way, I do a lot of reading and browsing. So along the way, I will be recommending books that you can get on your own, that you can just, obviously we're going to give you the one book that I mentioned already, but I'm going to be mentioning additional books. So if you're someone who likes to keep reading, even if you just get the online version of the book, some of the books now have PDF versions that you can get. But my point is, I'll be sharing with you different sources of information along the way. And each of your speakers will be coming forth with a book that they recommend to you as well. So if you are very interested in that, you'll be able to build your professional leadership library with other resources and tools. And so there's a book called 35 Dumb Things That People Say, something like that. I think I have a copy actually on my shelf. I'll pull it in a minute. And it's all about microaggressions, or sometimes saying something you don't really sure of what you said, and you sometimes don't mean to offend, but there are things that happen. So that workshop will be all about microaggressions and how to use more inclusive language and behavior that makes people feel welcome and included in your organization. You'll also have a session on inclusive economic growth. So you'll hear more about what that is, inclusive economic growth. That's a mouthful. And then through your project experience that I talked about, your hands-on experience, oftentimes it'll be an organization. In the past, we've had an organization that has been a nonprofit that's been owned or started by someone who is diverse. So you will have exposure again through that lens of working with that organization on your projects. So any questions here as I look for a book? Any question here? Okay, no questions. So I'm going to hold something up to the camera. If you all can see, maybe I'll just stop sharing for a second. Can you all see that? Okay. So this is a copy of a book, again, that I'll be sharing with you. And there'll be others that I'll share with you again as our time goes through. So that one was called 35 Dumb Things Well-Intended People Say. I just thought it was interesting. And it's a quick and easy read. And then the subtitle is Surprising Things We Say That Widen the Diversity Gap. But again, I thought it was just really eye-opening, and I learn things all the time that I, or that I say, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. But it's meant for you just to be aware, and then learn from it, and then share with your friends, family, and take it from there. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. We are coming up on the end. All right. So the next on my slide, these are the actual days and that we're going to be meeting in the leadership program that's on my screen now. As I mentioned, it's a monthly schedule. You meet from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Breakfast, when we do have breakfast, we will have breakfast. We start around 8:30. So for your planning purposes, you might as well say 8:30 to 3. And then these are the dates. So we starts off Wednesday, October 18th, Thursday, October 19th. That's the only 2 times we have sessions back to back in the very first beginning of the program. So October the 18th and Thursday, October 19th is back to back. After that, as I said earlier, it's once a month. So one Wednesday in November, November 8th, one Wednesday in December, you can see it's December 6th, one Wednesday in January, which is January 3rd, so right after New Year's. And then the final Wednesday is February 7th. 2 days before my 50th birthday. Exciting, exciting, exciting. And then graduation is in March. So these are the days. So I'll pause a little bit if you want to take a picture of the screen, put it on your calendars. Again, are there any questions? Okay. Day 1. So on Wednesday, October 18th, this is going to be your day 1 experience. As you can see on my slide, there are people who are on the ground, in the grass, and they're working on some sort of project, team building project. So the day 1 is all about experiential learning and experience-based team building. So you work as a team to solve a problem. And you learn all about negotiation and conflict resolution and problem solving. And again, you'll learn something about yourself as well. So this is how we first start out. We kind of throw you all together, and you're in an environment that's not necessarily a business environment. And you're given a series of tasks. We have a company that comes out to facilitate this. And it's a really cool way to start the program. So that's your day 1 experience, all about experiential learning. All right, I mentioned earlier that I will be behind the scenes primarily, and you will have one person who will be your glue that will hold you all together, our program coordinator. Her name is Reshama Norfleet. So Reshama is, as you can see on the slide here, she's a trainer, an inspirational speaker, project manager, educator, and worked in human resources, and she's got 9 years of nonprofit experience. And she has a quote here, which really this embodies who Reshama is. Her quote says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And that's by the late and great author and speaker and enthusiast Maya Angelou. So Reshama, as your program coordinator, really does embody this quote. She is very inspirational. She's always checking in to make sure everybody feels good and is okay throughout the program. She'll give you all the details. There's never a dumb question to ask. She's always there for you. Okay, so she could not be on this call today, but I wanted to make sure that you at least saw her face. You can maybe feel her energy here, and know that you will be in good hands with this program coordinator throughout the program. The final slide is the details here, a little bit more details that I haven't said. We're going to be asking you questions like, do you have food allergies or dietary restrictions? Because again, we're going to give you breakfast and lunch. We're going to ask you if we have your permission to photograph you for promotional use, because we take pictures and we share what's been going on, every year, what you're going to be experiencing. We are going to ask you to complete a survey at the end of each session. And they're quick surveys, like a 5-question survey. I think it's 5 questions and 6 questions, no longer than that. We're going to ask you to complete the survey so that we know real time if something didn't strike you, or if you want to know more about something, or you want to hear more from someone of the speakers, you let us know that real time, and we'll work as hard as we can to apply your feedback later on in the program or give it to you a different kind of way. And then finally, the next day information, anything that you need from the speakers, any tools or reading lists or handouts from the speakers will be available in either a Google Doc form or some sort of electronic way where you can go and get them at your leisure whenever you need to. All right, so with that, we are now at the end. It is 9:53. Are there any questions that I haven't answered from anyone? A lot of you have asked questions, but are there any other questions that I have not answered? That I've not answered.
When is it
What is the program cost?
Say that again?
The cost for the program?
Well, it depends if you're a nonprofit and if you're a member. So if you're a nonprofit, it's $1,000. If you're a member, but you're not a nonprofit, it's $1,800. So there's different answers. And then of course, if you are sending multiple people through the program, we'll also give you a discount. And then was there another question?
When is the deadline to register?
Very good question. The deadline, I would like to have everybody in the program just for my own planning purposes. Really, beginning of October. In fact, I will just kind of give you a date right now because it just helps for me to plan appropriately for folks. So the first session is October 18th. I would like to hear and know by October 6th. That would be ideal. So that way, if we get a big slew of people coming in, because we already have people registered, then I can plan appropriate. So by Friday, October 6th. So if you all are thinking about the program, if you could plan for that date, Friday, October 6th, I think that would be really, really helpful so that I can plan appropriately and add to the numbers if I need to. Great question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I know you stated that we will be put into teams and you have approximately 7 nonprofit or organizations to come in. So you probably will have, I don't know how many, I don't know, it depends on how many you have with this particular cohort. So
Right.
say if you, because I know you don't want too many in one, team. So how does that work? Will you have to find like an additional 8th, just say 8th nonprofit org, or will that team have to go out and try to find an org on their own?
No, so you'll never have to find an organization on your own. Great question.
Okay.
I will have probably 7 or 8 organizations come to present. So the class will pick just from the ones, because I would have vetted them and asked them questions to make sure that they have the time to devote to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't want any surprises that way. So you won't have to worry about that. If depending on the size of the whole leadership class, if we need to have more than 4 to 5 people, we might need to have more than 4 to 5 people on a team.
Mm-hmm.
But typically what we'll do, Reshama typically will do this with you. She will ask you, once you hear all the presentations, she'll say, give me your first choice and then give me your second choice.
Okay.
And if for some reason the first choice fills up first, then you can at least be put on your second choice team. But yeah,
Okay.
you never have to worry about finding a nonprofit. Everybody will be assigned and you'll be either on your first or your second choice. Really work hard to make sure that, because you would have heard all these companies present and it makes sense that you be on the team that you want to be on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I see Cassandra's hand up.
Sure. Yeah. Is there a way to reach out to you if we need more information regarding the program?
Yes, excellent. Again, in fact, I'm going to put my information here in the chat. So let me just do that now. Yep. So again, my name is Tamika Miller. And I'm gonna just put my email address, gnhcc.com. And I'm also gonna give you my phone number, which is 203-782-4337. Okay, so I've just put that in the chat. So Tamika Miller, and the email address is tmiller@gnhcc.com, and then 203-782-4337. So feel free to email me and call me.
Thank you.
Anything else from anyone? Nope. Okay, Amanda, thank you. Elaine, Terry, Michelle, Yamilet, Sandra, Sarah, Nicole, any questions?
No, thank you.
No
Okay.
question.
Very informative.
Katie, Susan, I'm trying to see all the names.
No question.
Cheryl.
Thank you.
Okay. Frusion? Is it Frusion? No
Sorry.
question.
Questions, but this was
Yep.
this was great and very, very informative. Tamika, actually, our CEO, Eric Clemens, walked in while we were on the Zoom, and I immediately started talking to him about the leadership program. And he's like, just do it. So
Yay!
we'll be reaching out to you soon.
All right, I love that. Okay. All right. Well, perhaps you will see each other again very soon. For those of you again who are in the program, I look forward to sending you some more emails and information. So you're going to get some information from me, and then eventually you'll get information from Reshama Norfleet, your program coordinator. And again, for those of you who are still interested and have questions, there are no silly questions. Feel free to call me. People that know me know I love this program. So I will be here to help you and to hold your hand. Okay. So again, you don't have to worry about it. All right. So with that, I see we're at 9:59. I respect your time and respect you as leaders, and have a great day.
Thank you, Tamika.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.